All right, we're back. We're ready to do real terrain. We're ready to do some real work. We're done learning the baby steps. Hopefully, you guys have practiced a little bit in Giants Editor at this point, and gone through the map file and kind of just did a general overview of the files and XMLs. My thinking is that we're gonna learn all of these XMLs when we add each part. So things like the spray types XML or the fruit types XML. Those will be or fill types XML. Those will be covered later down the line. So when we add anhydrous, we're gonna need to know some things about the spray types XML, right? That's a spray type, or like certain alfalfa, you're gonna need to know things about fruit types and fill types. So we'll learn that as we go, because right now it's really not a concern of yours. It shouldn't be a concern of yours this early on in the map making process. This should be something that you're adding on way later, after you've laid this concrete foundation for the map. And so that's what we're going to do. Literally these first, I don't know, probably 5 to 6, maybe more lessons, maybe 10 lessons, are going to be laying that foundation. Okay, and you have to be patient. But once that foundation is laid, there's so many fun things you can do after that. So, and I'm gonna make your life easier. Sometimes that foundation, like I said in previous videos, that foundation is gonna take, like, for a person who doesn't have these tutorials, it's gonna take months and months and months. For you, it might just take, a couple weeks, depending on how much time you have to watch these tutorials, or maybe even, a couple days. It's gonna be super easy. So, speaking of easy, this is real terrain, the easy way. There are more complicated ways of doing terrain with LiDAR data and being way more accurate than this. But it doesn't, unless you're really, really going to be picky about it, like super picky. I'm talking about like accurate terrain. I would suggest finding lessons on doing LiDAR data, which is much more complicated than this. But I have found through this method that by doing adjustments with the terrain image, you can get pretty darn close. So as you guys can see, I did my previous older lessons on Marksville. The terrain came out really nice, except for a few spots. So excuse me. So without further ado, let's get into this. I'm going to show you what we're doing, but first we need to do all of our prep work. So our prep work involves downloading Google Earth Pro on your desktop. I have all the links included in the PowerPoint, so this is really helpful. Make sure you look at the PowerPoint. You're going to go download the SRTM 90-meter digital elevation database. This is going to be a plugin for Google Earth Pro. I wrote here that you should just be able to double click the download or click on the download, and the plugin should install to Google Earth right away. I'll show you what the plugin looks like when we get in there. It's not anything fancy. It's just going to help us transfer our image from the next download, MicroDEM, into Google Earth. And then you'll need paint.net. So MicroDEM, then paint.net, and we're good to go. Okay, all of these are going to be used in this process. You guys don't be intimidated by this. Like, oh, there's all these different programs and I'm gonna have to learn them all. And no. You trust me, you guys are gonna be like, this is actually stupid easy. We're demystifying all of this for you. So before we get into Earth Explorer, before we really get into the nitty gritty here, I'm gonna pull this aside. I'm gonna open up. So this is the terrain for, I believe this was Marksville when I first did these tutorials, way like almost a year ago at this point. This is Marksville. Okay, does it look like Marksville? No. I think a lot of this ended up getting smoothed out afterwards, but I don't know if you guys, maybe I can pull up the image plane show. Yeah, there you go. You guys can see, if you guys have played on Marksville, this is what it looked like before all of that stuff was added to Marksville. Okay, this is what it looked like. All right, a lot of smoothing happened, and frankly, this area over here was the only problem area in the map. And I have ways to make adjustments, but it really should be a hill and a valley through here, but instead of just one big hill. So this is what we're gonna do. we're going to replicate this. Well, they're not going to replicate this terrain. We're going to do a different terrain this time. And it's probably going to be way different. But I'm just showing you an example of how hilly you can get hilly. A hilly map from this data, or not so hilly. We're not going to work with a really hilly DEM. But I am also doing 8 Mile Bench, and through this process, I've been able to replicate basically like a huge like mountainous terrain for 8 Mile Bench, which has been a very interesting process. And getting it really close is takes patience and whatnot. But hey, this is the most important step, right? Okay, so let's go into the tutorial map. I'm going in here. I'm just going to show you really quick what we're adding in. This is the image right here. Down here, see my mouse right there? Map DE underscore DEM, right? This image is the one we're working on. We're going to create that outside third-party programs. We're going to add it in here. Boom, bada bee. You'll be able to open up the map, and it will have real terrain. I really should have gotten water before this. Okay. So this is where are we? Here we go. Okay. Back to the PowerPoint. My PowerPoint. Earth Explorer. You're going to click on this link, or you can just look it up on Google. It should be one of the first links. It's earthexplorer.usgs.gov. You're going to need to create an account with the government, so watch out. Use, I mean, they're not going to use your data or anything. All right, you're just creating an account. Use search features to find a location. Oh, yeah. So once we get in here, I've used this so many times, I don't even think about what I'm doing. You can see I'm logged in. You're going to need to be able to log in to download the data. Okay. So I'm going to use the search features. We're doing a very basic map. But you should be able to get data from almost anywhere in the United States and Canada. I've even gotten real terrain from Canada. So I think I want, is it called Tremonton? I think it's called. Yeah. Tremonton, Utah. All right, so I typed in feature name Tremonton, and if you're looking at like Springfield, how many Springfields, there's a Springfield in every state, so that's going to be a little bit more. Maybe you can specify the state to narrow it down for you. Okay, so I clicked on Tremonton. This is the area we're going to work from, and I specifically want, where is it? Not that. Oh, it looks so much different in Earth Explorer. Yes, this is the area. Okay, yes, that's a lot of baling hay in this area. There's a railroad running down the center. So make sure you're kind of picking an area. I'm assuming all of you are doing areas of your home farm, or an area that you're familiar with. You can really do whatever you want. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes the map's going to be way more complicated. So, be prepared for a lot of work. If you're choosing an area with lots of trees, lots of buildings that we just don't have models for, stuff like that, if you're going to model stuff on your own. So I just picked a very simple area just for demonstration purposes. These fields are like all, rectangles. So super easy for me to teach. So we got the area. I'm going to kind of zoom in there. Okay, and what I want to do is click use map down here, and that's going to create these corners with these coordinates. If I zoom out, it should show, it's going to show, well, these points, there's a red box that appears here. I don't know why it's not showing, but these are the points of the map, right? Now, for our purposes, we're making a 2 kilometer by 2 kilometer map. Okay, so, and that's called a 1x. Okay, maybe I should have clarified this earlier. A 1x is 2 kilometers by 2 kilometers. A 4x, which I don't recommend as your first map, is 4 kilometers by 4 kilometers. Make sure you go into like Google Maps or something like that and measure out the area and make sure it's everything's going to fit in the area that you want. Okay, so it's going to be a 2 kilometer by 2 kilometer box, which I think I measured out. It's like right, this area down here, but it doesn't matter. These corners don't have to be on that box. We just want the data set from this. So we got the area. Let's go down here to, I got my coordinates. I'm going to go down here to data sets at the bottom of this column. click on that. Then we're going to go to digital elevation, SRTM. We're going to click the plus sign there. And I'm going to click 1 arc-second global. Now, I have not tried these other ones. I don't think they're the ones I want. I don't know. My girlfriend is an engineer. She said you should pick 1 arc-second global. I don't know if I believe her, but that's the one that has always worked for me anyway. So you're going to go with 1 arc-second global. Results. Okay, perfect. Look at that. So it gave us a 1 arc-second global data set. Okay, that's what the image looks like right now. We're gonna click this little download options button. Okay, you need to be logged in to do this part. We want GeoTIFF 1 arc-second. That's what we're gonna bring into MicroDEM. And sometimes I have to click that link multiple times to get it to start downloading. It's a pain. Please download. I don't know why, if it's like the government website's just like running slow or what it is. There we go. It's working now. 24 megabytes. That seems rather large, but oh well. Wait for it to finish here. Don't know if I want to take the time to cut this out in Adobe Premiere, but you guys can sit here with me and be patient, right? Okay, we're downloading. I'm going to let that finish downloading. I'm going to bring that over here. I'm going to open up MicroDEM. This is the new version of MicroDEM, the latest, I believe. So what I have right here is 2020.8.20.1. If you don't have this, and things have like drastically changed, then you might want to go download this version. Okay, so it has downloaded. I'm going to click on OpenDEM. This is this little box up here, OpenDEM/grid. I'm going to go to my downloads folder because that's where it is. There's this N41_W1. That's the one. That's the TIFF file. We want that. We're opening that. And if I'm talking to you like you're a 5-year-old, trust me, that's how I learn. So, you know. That's how I'm taught. So don't take it in a condescending way. So yes, mountains, lots of mountains. That's probably why the file size was a little larger than I anticipated. But I'm going to go right click on this. Actually, some of you might have grids. Okay. Sorry. I really should have brought water. Let's see. Is it gonna, yeah, if some of you might have grids like this. I just go into, I just click, I just right click and go into grids or overlays. There might be some overlays in here as well that you need to get out of the way. Make sure you're getting those out of the way. So when you bring it import it into Google Earth, those won't be there. Okay, so overlays, grids. I don't think there's anything else that might, yeah, there's nothing else that'll get in your way, I don't think. But after you've done that, we want display parameter. Okay, display parameter. Then we want elevation/grid values. Okay, we don't want chroma depth colors. We want, on this list, we want, where is it? Terrain scale, yes. Terrain color scale. Okay, let's see here. Z range. Okay, I'm gonna pull up PowerPoint. Make sure we're doing this right. I never think about this when I'm doing it. I just do. At this point, I'm a robot. All right. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's terrain color scale. Yep, it's terrain color scale. Okay, just making sure so that you guys don't run into any issues. Then we're gonna click Z range over here. We're gonna do it in percentiles. That's we can do it in anything. We want to specify it if you want. I like specified more because it is easier to adjust the values when you come back. So Z range is the thing that's going to be affecting the differences in height between like your mountains and your plains, let's say, so, or in your highs and your lows. Okay, so the closer these, let's go into specified, the closer these values are, the wider that range is going to be. Okay, so for like 8 Mile Bench, I kept bringing down this max closer and closer down to the min. and that kept raising these mountains up every time I imported it, or I do the process over and over again. But every time I brought it back into Giants Editor, it kept raising and raising those mountains higher and higher up. So you can get dramatic landscapes through this. You need to keep MicroDEM open so that you can keep coming back and adjusting these values to how you see fit. Adjusting them by 100 is usually a pretty good idea. Now, if you want things to be more flat, like a flatter map, then these values are going to be farther apart. Okay, the far you want them, you need to increase them by increment, or decrease them by increments of 100. Okay, according to what you want. But this is the most important step. You're going to spend the most time on this likely to get it right if you're really picky about it. So keep MicroDEM open. That's not going to change. Okay. I clicked OK and then OK again. All right. Now, this has changed from previous versions. So make sure you're paying attention here. You can right click and click export, and then you can click on quick map to Google Earth. Now, older versions, I believe, used to do file, and then it would be in here somewhere. It'd be export and then quick export to Google Earth. For our purposes, we are just going to do quick map to Google Earth. Do your thing. Hopefully Google Earth doesn't crash. Now, if you're like me and you are running into issues with Google Earth opening, it's likely you need to clear your, you need to go through the Google Earth troubleshooting, and clear your places. But this is only if you have places in saved in Google Earth. So over here are my places, okay? The troubleshooting software will just delete those for you. So if you don't have any problem with saving them, you can delete them and then Google Earth will run again. Okay. Every time I talk, I burp. Okay, sorry. Okay, so I have a DEM from a previous, let's erase that. Okay, so this is the only one we want right here. All right, you see, we got our area here. That's not it. There it is, up there. Okay, now if you don't see your area, okay, you can go back into Earth Explorer and like increase this, and then you go back to the beginning and use map again, and it'll probably give you a bigger image. So we got what we want. Let's go in here. Now I'm going to use, I'm going to click right here. I'm going to click N. That's going to center us, make us go north-south. Okay, exactly. Okay. And then I'm going to, actually, first of all, what you should do is click right mouse button, and then just drag it all the way as far as you can upwards, and then click N. All right, that way we're looking 90 degrees downward towards the map, and it's north-south. So it's so we get a nice clean image. Okay. So I got all that done. We can now we can do all the fun stuff here. We're going to click over here. It's the second one. Go right click properties. We want to just decrease the opacity right now, make it more clear just for now, because we want to be able to see our map. And we want to go to tools, ruler. Okay, drag that up here. By the way, you might see this SRTM consortium for spatial information up here. Get that out of the way. Just get that out of the way. All right. You can unclick this and click this to get it out of the way. Okay. All right. Make sure I'm just constantly making sure I'm dragging up and centering when I'm doing this. Sometimes it gets a little off. So let's see, where do I want to, I know I want this farm in there. I don't know about that road. I think this road might have been the edge of the map for me. So I'm going to drag it up, and you see, look, pay attention to ruler as I'm doing this, because map length, you can change this to kilometers, by the way. That's what you need. Everything's in kilometers for Giants. Kilometers and degrees. Okay. We want 2 kilometers, 90 degrees. Okay. So this is the bottom of the map. Now you can rotate this image however you want and do a different orientation and make the bottom of the map a different orientation. I just do north-south because I think that just makes sense. Okay, let me adjust my mic here. Okay, there we go. So that's not quite what I want. I'm going to clear that. Let's bring it over. again, this is just for demonstration purposes. I don't care too much about this map. I'm gonna now I got it at 2. You see how I'm holding? I got both my hands on the mouse right now. I want 2 kilometers, and then I'm at 89.9. So can I get it closer? Oh, that's the closest I'm gonna get. I feel like 89.99 degrees and 2 kilometers. That's pretty darn close. I'm gonna save that, and then I'm gonna call it line measure. That doesn't really matter. Recenter. These fields are not perpendicular to the north-south lines, so they're a little crooked. That bothers me just a little bit, but it's not a huge deal. It's not gonna make. It's gonna be like a pixel. It's gonna be like a. It'll look weird, but not too weird. Okay, so I want to make sure that this is the area that I want. Now, this is the bottom of your map, this red line. So you got to make sure that it's covering everything you want. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll create another line, and I'll just like draw from that point upwards 2 kilometers just to get a good look. And yeah, that's probably the closest I'm gonna get for that too. And so this is what the map is gonna look like. It's gonna go up this high. It's gonna go down this low. All that stuff. I'm pretty satisfied with this. I'm gonna hide that last line that I just made. I'm gonna go like here, just justify everything, make sure. Okay, all right. Let's. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna make this. Go to properties. We're gonna make this fully opaque. Why are we making this fully opaque? Because I don't want anything, any trees, anything. I just want the elevation of the land. I don't want the buildings, because as part of the height, these buildings will show up. If I do this, these buildings will show up as lumps in my terrain. I do not want that. Okay. Now I'm gonna do a Windows print. All right, that's how you take screenshots in Windows. Okay, now not moving anything. I'm not moving anything right now. I want to go back to properties. I'm gonna go all the way down, click OK. I'm gonna do Windows print. There we go. We got 2 images that we just took. All right, so we're gonna bring the screenshots. Okay, I'm gonna right click the 2 screenshots I just took. And I'm gonna click open with paint.net. This is where paint.net comes in. I don't want the updates yet. Chill out. Okay, I'm gonna open the other image in paint.net as well. Cool beans. All right, I'm gonna zoom in a little bit here. This is what I want. Okay, and make sure that I'm gonna be able to get a 2 kilometer box here. Sometimes I need to go back and take the picture in Google Earth. Make sure you're zoomed out enough. You're gonna fit the whole box in your screenshot, okay? Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click on this little rectangle select box over here. Bring that over here so you can see it better. Okay, I'm gonna click down here. Again, I'm like using 2 hands right now on the mouse. I want this on the very corner down here, and I do not want that red line in the image. If you have the red line in the image, it's going to have a huge mountain on the southern part of your map, and you're going to have to smooth it out. It's going to look ugly, and it's going to be painful. All right, so that's probably like several feet off, since I didn't cover the whole red line there in the lower left hand corner. But we want this box to be proportional, so I'm clicking right click, I'm holding right click, and then I'm going to hold down shift while I'm doing that. That will create a box that is proportional. Okay, and I'm dragging this across so it covers the length of that bottom line, and I'm releasing both buttons, both right click and shift. I'm holding it there. Don't click anything. Okay, click Control C. Okay, you just copied that box. All right, now Control N. All right, we're gonna click OK. Doesn't matter right now. We're gonna click Control V. All right, there we go. All right, so we got, this is our DEM. Isn't it beautiful? This is literally all flat. This terrain, it's probably not the best example, but I did show you Marksville. So like sometimes this will be like, this will almost every time if you're not using a flat terrain. If you're using a flat terrain, you probably don't even need to use Earth Explorer. But this will show variations in colors, and that's what you want. And the game will read those colors differently, and that'll create your heights and lows, whatever. I don't care. So we got to go to image, resize. Now, pay attention here. For a 1x DEM, you want 1025 by 1025 pixels. All right, I'm gonna bring it up here in PowerPoint so you guys know the numbers. Okay, 1025 by 1025, not 1024 by 1020. Calm down. All right. Not 1024 by 1024. Okay, 1025 by 1025. I'm gonna type that here. I don't know why it's an extra pixel. It just is. Click OK. All right, that's a 1025 by 1025 image. You're gonna for a 4x map, it is 2049 by 2049. Okay. Now, like I said, I think in the previous video, weight file sizes, the DEM, the cultivator density, the fruit density, and the GRLE file sizes are all, or pixel sizes are all different, and they all need to be correct. Okay, so for the DEM specifically, it needs to be 2049 by 2049. I will show you here later in a later tutorial what the sizes need to be for cultivator density and fruit density. Okay, so we got that. We'll come back here. We'll make this, but first, this is my precious image right now. This is the one that I don't want to lose. So save as. I'm probably gonna go to I'll probably put it in the desktop, and then I'm going to retitle it. Actually, I can go. I have my tutorial file on the desktop. Where is it? Let's go. Let's sort by name. Sorry for the mess. Tutorial map. There we go. I'm going to go to tutorial map. I'm going to click on maps. I'm going to click on map DE. And I'm going to click on map DE underscore DEM. Now you could just name it this and then, drag and drop in the folder and replace it. But either way, it doesn't really matter. It needs to be in PNG format. Okay, nothing else. Replace. And over here I have bit depth 8-bit. This should be defaults. I'm not sure about these numbers. I've never adjusted these numbers. I'm not entirely sure what they do. I'm just gonna keep it as they are because things are working out for me. Okay. All right, we saved that. And remember, keep MicroDEM up in case you run into issues. Okay. We're gonna do the exact same thing that we just did. This is going to be our PDA, by the way. Okay, I'm going to try to get this as close as possible to how I had it. Be a little bit meticulous here. I do want to line. Yeah, that's about it. Right there, holding shift, right click, and just dragging it up just a tiny little bit, just a couple pixels. There we go. Release. Okay. All right. Control C, Control N. Okay, Control V. Now, what is the image plane size? Shoot, I believe it's 1024 by 1024. It might be double that though. But let's keep it at 1024. Where is it? Image resize 1024 by 1024. I could be wrong, but it isn't important to get that size right now. We can change that. Okay, we're gonna save as. I'm in the tutorial map again. I'm gonna go to textures, and I'm just gonna, textures, and I'm just gonna save this as PDA. Okay. Now, this is also important. Excuse me. You're gonna be using the same image for your fields. Okay, and then your fields, you're gonna use that fields image for your fruit density. Everything follows from this image, okay? All the accuracy stuff, the trees, the fruit density, the fields, everything else It's going to follow from this image. This is how you're going to get as accurate as you can, okay, for your map. Okay, so make sure this is what you want. All right, I'm going to actually make sure this is what I want. Yeah, this is fine. This is a pretty normal layout. Okay. Let's get out of there, get out of there. Tutorial map. I'm going to bring that up over here. Okay, textures. I got my PDA image in here, and it is 1024. What is this one? If I wait, that's 1028. That can't be right. Okay. So, no, I didn't want to do that. Apologize, guys. I'm a little all over the place. It happens when you get too much coffee. We're gonna open the map. Double click it. I'm gonna open it in 8.2.2. I like it more, just because it's got all my scripts in it. Okay. All right. See, we got this water plane now. Remember what Marksville looked like? It was all hilly. Now it's not. I'm gonna lower that water plane here. Just lower it. Okay. Remember Marksville? It was really hilly. Well, I chose Utah and it's super flat, but it might be different for you. All right. But how you're gonna check, like I was doing with Marksville before, is you're gonna pull this image. Actually, it's gonna have your Marksville image on it. So let me we're gonna switch that over really quick so that you can check the terrain. Kind of important, right? So let's pull that image up through the map. You're just gonna click on it in the scene graph, pull it up through the map. You're gonna go down to material editing. You wanna make sure you have this open. We can exit out of user attributes for now. Material editing, you're gonna find that under window, material editing. You're gonna click on this image plane. And you are gonna go over here and your click looks like it's 2048. Maybe I should have made the image 2048 by 2048. That's actually concerning. I think maybe it'll look okay. So I'm gonna click on that triple dot down there on albedo map. I'm gonna click on this triple dot over here, and I'm gonna click on PDA. Okay, that's not the PDA. This is the PDA. This. Do I have a PDA in here? That's not. They're named the same. That's probably what's causing the issue. Apologies. If you got that in your file, let's go to textures. Let's delete this phony PDA. Okay. Now let's change it. And it's gonna say there is no optimized version of the selected texture. Convert it now. You're gonna click OK. That's fine. I don't care. Boom. There you go. I'm wondering if this should be 2048. I'm gonna investigate that. If the image should actually be 2048 by 2048. But for now, this works perfectly fine for me. I mean, this is showing me where everything's at. And you will see when we get the fields in, then you'll see exactly where, if everything's located correctly where you want it. Okay, so don't worry about being too accurate here. You're really just checking the terrain. So what I'll do is, like for Marksville and for this map, I mean, this isn't important because it's a flat map, but for Marksville, I would go down to where the road is here. And then I'd lower it, and then I'd go into Google Earth or Google Street View, and I'd just look around and make sure it's how I want it. Okay, if it's not, you need to go back into MicroDEM. You need to go to display parameter, elevation changes, terrain color scale, and then you need to go into Z range specified, and you need to readjust these values. Okay, if it's too flat for you and it's not hilly enough, you need to bring these values closer to each other. Okay, but right now this is pretty much a flat map, so I'm not worried about it at all. Okay, I'm gonna exit out of that. So don't worry too much, but you do want it to be accurate. You know, check and recheck. This is an important step in the process, probably the longest one if you're being picky. Okay, now this doesn't really show where my river is, so you know, I might go back actually and make some adjustments myself, just so I can see the river specifically. So I'll bring those values closer to each other and everything. But yeah, we have our DEM. Okay, now let me see if I can pull up while I'm talking here. Pull up 8 Mile Bench. I'll show you something else that I did. Let's see, open file, open. Desktops. 1 second here. I'm just gonna show you this real quick. It's under, oh, it's under the map, master map file here. Okay. It shouldn't take too long to load. But I'm gonna show you something. I'm gonna show you like a polar opposite of this map. Okay, so this is, you know, the least dramatic looking map DEM that I've done. Marksville's very accurate, as I showed earlier. Here is 8 Mile Bench, which is on the other extreme. This is 8 Mile Bench, and I still need to adjust this. But when you're down here, basically, see, this has the fields, most of them. They look a little crazy right now, that I painted in using that image. Okay. So I know that these are fairly accurate, and they're where they need to be. But the terrain, look at the terrain. It's insane compared to what we just did. Okay, that was all done just adjusting that Z range value. Okay, and I still need to make these this way higher up. But you can see, you know, when you're down here, it's very obvious, like this is a huge plateau over here. So play around with it, get it right before you move on, but don't stick too long on it. We're going to be moving on to the cultivator density, which is where all these fields are. It's going to help you identify things a little bit easier. How, like, maybe you'll have a field on a hillside. You know, you want to have that field in the map so you can check to see how it looks. And if you need to do any further adjustments, you know, you're going to be using what we learned in the last previous lesson, or 2 lessons ago. You're going to be using the smoothing tool. Okay, so you're gonna reduce this down to, if the terrain is really, you know, like we just had Marksville, which had like angled edges, it's gonna, yours will probably look angled or bumpy. That's okay. Take your tool here, your terrain sculpt mode tool, go into opacity hardness value under the brush settings, and you reduce them down to like 0.2. You can reduce them down to 0.5 actually, and you're going to smooth out those angles. In fact, what you can do is you can go in and you can click on terrain sculpt mode, and you can click 2000. Okay, so you're covering the whole map. Okay, and then you click, you know, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4 works. Don't go 1. You're going to completely ruin the DEM. And then you can do middle mouse button smooth, and you can hold that down, and it's going to load for like a minute. Okay, and it's going to smooth out that terrain. You can keep doing that over and over until you get it to where you want. Okay, so super easy stuff. I hope this was helpful. We're going to move on to the next tutorial. I'm probably going to redo this DEM a little bit, and I'll show you how I smoothed out some of it in the next tutorial. Okay. So the next tutorial, we're moving on to the cultivator density, which is the fields. I'll show you how all the fields get put in. So relatively straightforward tutorial. It's definitely easier than other methods. You're maybe not getting quite as accurate as these other methods, but for me, it's close enough. So I hope this was helpful, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.